Marketer of the Day, episode 527. Innovate, strategize, believe, and implement. Provide a new solution to tired customers with fitness business coach Ryan Ketchum.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Marketer of the Day podcast. We're talking with Ryan Ketchum, and his website is at frnation.com. And Ryan is passionate about helping people change their bodies and change their lives. And he's coached hundreds of fitness professionals and trained with thousands of clients. We're going to hear about his story, his business, what he has going on. So Ryan, glad to be talking to you.
No, I appreciate you having me. It's an honor to be here.
Awesome. Well, the honor is mutual. I mean, I've had a few gym owner type of people on my podcast before, and you guys are a rare breed. You guys are like super just energetic, into it, 24 hours a day thinking about the business, super precise, almost militaristic. So I'm excited to hear what you have going on these days.
Well, I hope I can live up to all that stuff. We'll see. I've definitely transitioned through a lot of that. But yeah, I'm excited to share.
All right. Well, cool. Well, I think we can deliver. I'm pretty confident about that. So can you kind of tell us like just how and why you get started, where this all began?
Yeah. I've always been very competitive. So as a track and field athlete at a pretty high level through my college days. And that led me to, it's kind of funny how this turns out. It's preempting with the college days is I hated business, like anything business. Started 2 business courses in college. I got a C- and like a D+ in those 2. After going all through high school, like straight A's, 4.0, all that stuff. So I was like, business is just, I'm not cut out for that stuff, right? And when I had graduated college, I'd shifted degrees to kinesiology, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with that. But I was going to continue to train as an athlete, as a track and field athlete, for Olympic trials, nationals, that sort of stuff. And so I thought, well, I'll just start my own personal training business, right? Like that's just like a logical thing to do. And I thought, well, I'll just make my own hours, train some clients, and I'll still be able to take care of whatever I need to do for myself. And so that's how I got started, is as like a business owner. And shortly after that, I had to give up track. And then I took that competitive nature and really turned it towards business, and started to grow my business and learn more about sales and marketing and absorb that information and grew that initial like small, as an independent contractor renting space out of another gym, just a 24-hour membership gym, and grew that really fast. And then ended up starting my own facility and opening my own facility, and grew that really fast as well. And through that transition, I met my current business partner, Nick Berry, and we did some coaching with them, and then got more involved with them, and eventually sold the studio. I sold my shares to my partner and left to do this full time, and then have really just kind of owned the marketing and sales aspect for our company for the last 5, 6, 7 years now, and really just kind of fell in love with that and really enjoy what that's all about, and then teaching other people. And what we do is we coach now fitness business owners. We do business coaching for them, and I love teaching them how to grow their business, because it's not, marketing and sales is not something that comes very naturally to them. In fact, they're very much repelled by sales and marketing. So I have my work cut out for me, but I really love doing that, because that's where they make the impact, right? I can help somebody grow their business, do something they love. And for most trainers, most fitness business owners, they end up kind of being martyrs of the industry, so to speak. They get into it because they love it, they have a passion for it, and they want to help people. And they get into it. It's hard hours, it's odd hours, it's long days, and it's tough to get people to change. And they're going through a lot. They're working with clients, and so rarely do they have the lifestyle, do they have the income that they need or they want, and so they end up burning out of the industry. So what we do is we try to help them have those things so they stay in the industry longer. They provide them more opportunities, and then they in turn get to impact hundreds of people in their facilities. So that's kind of our little way of giving back, and a little bit more about like why we do what we do.
Well, awesome, and I definitely I can relate to that problem of sometimes not being in the growth, the business owner mindset of the whole thing of like if you don't have a plan, if you take your eye off the ball, then it's easy to fall back and regress into that kind of worker mode. And then there's also that aspect of kind of needing to like in that transition phase of needing to like have that goal and push through and work the long hours and sometimes making like the hard decisions or the big decisions, right? Like hiring people or choosing when to sell the business. So, I mean, is there like an easy fix, or are there certain things that people need to be doing or thinking about in order to escape their bad strategy, their bad thinking, and do more of what it is you do?
Yeah, so I think the first tip that I can give someone is you got to give yourself a little space, which sounds kind of counterintuitive when if you have a plan that's not working or you're already burning the candle at both ends. What typically happens there is you get in this like cycle, right? You're on this hamster wheel of just doing stuff. And you never give yourself space to think clearly, to come up with a good strategy. And then you don't have the structure to even figure out how to put that strategy together. Right? A lot of times just trying stuff, or you go with your gut. And that gets you so far, but you need a little space and you need a little structure. And if you have those two things, and you have to create it, right? Or you have to have somebody, like what we do is we come in and we provide that structure, and we got a framework for how to think, how to go through building a strategy, whether it's for just business or whether it's for marketing and sales. And then you've got to build that time in where you just kind of give yourself time to think, to be a visionary, to be able to think about what's next. What is my plan going to be, rather than be very reactionary in your business and just put out fires when they come up.
That makes a lot of sense. So set aside that time to kind of like calm down and step away from things and look at things from a different perspective or an outside perspective. So that way you say, I'm not just going day to day, because eventually I'm going to burn out, or eventually there's going to be some kind of an emergency, and then the bottom will really fall out. So something needs to change, and we need to maybe, like you said, give ourselves a break and rethink things. And so sort of along those lines of like, having more of a strategy or a bigger picture. The reason why you're even on the show is because I listened to another podcast where you were talking about kind of the old outdated gym model versus some of these new ways that companies like you are innovating. And I found that very interesting, because even for those of us who aren't in the fitness space, there's a lot of like interesting lessons to be learned. So can you unpack that for us a little bit and tell us like kind of what's been happening in your industry in the last few years?
Yeah, and there's a lot of changes going on. The fitness industry is still really young when we look at industry as a whole, right? And so there right now it's changing really fast. I think this is the most competitive time right now to be in the fitness industry. I think people will recognize this. There's the Orange Theories, there's CrossFits, there's everything's popping up on every corner. There's a gym or a fitness option just about everywhere you look, and you look at the online as well. And there's streaming things now, and they have bikes where you can take classes and you stream in the class. So there's all this change happening really fast. And what I talked about before was we had this big box model. That's what I'll call it. So you're a membership gym where you pay $30 a month and you get to rent equipment essentially. And what they're banking on there is that you'll pay that membership and you won't show up. Because if every single person that bought a membership showed up, they would have no room in that gym to do that. So they're banking on that model. And it's a broken model. There's no culture. There's no experience. It's the stuff people crave. And then you're just renting access to equipment, which most people could care less about anyway. And so they're just paying their membership because they're in a contract, or it's not enough to deal with to try to cancel that. And so that's where it was. And then we transitioned to it's like this personal training model where, okay, now we have people doing training, and then we expanded to group training, like boot camp style, the CrossFit model that people would be familiar with. And now that's expanding even further when we talk about like the orange theories and things like that are popping up, where now they're adding technology and they're gamifying stuff. And so the market and the competitiveness is always changing and adapting really quick in the fitness industry. And I don't think that there's any like one thing that's going to make or break a business. Like you don't have to have the technology. You don't have to make all these shifts. The keys are really about, you have to be able to understand who your customer is. You got to be able to understand what they want. And you've got to be able to clearly communicate why you're different, right? So like we'll take an orange theory, for example. They use heart rate technology, and that's kind of the foundation, right? They put their own marketing spin on it, right? None of that's new. It's been around forever. They just tend to market it better. They understand what their customer wants. It's kind of the person that would love to do CrossFit type of things or high intensity exercise, but maybe they can't because of an injury or something. So they've kind of simplified it, and then they gamified it to make it fun, and they've created this atmosphere, and that's what they know who their customer is and how to market to them. The same when you look at a CrossFit or any other successful fitness business, right? Curves is an example of that in terms of like they've obviously did some things wrong since they're no longer around, but those are some examples, right? It's just changing very, very quickly. And in the fitness industry, I think you have to be very transformative. You have to be able to adapt quickly, be able to filter out opportunities and see, whether or not this opportunity fits for my model. And do I need to do that to keep up and to stay ahead? Sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes it's no. And it just goes back to, who do you serve? How do you serve them best? And can you communicate that really well in your marketing?
I like that a lot. So what I'm hearing is instead of just kind of relating back to, instead of just going through the motions, you think a little bit and think about like, where's the hole in the marketplace? And instead of thinking about, well, I'm going to set up this store and then these robots called humans will come and use it. Instead of thinking it in those terms, it's like, well, they're real people. They have these needs. They're probably frustrated with going to whatever solution is out there. So then that way I can like find that hole to fill. And yeah, you mentioned curves, and I was just reading a book the other day about how like that came about because they said, well, like what do women want when they go to the gym? They don't want to have the men there. They don't want to be harassed. So then we'll create this other like environment kind of thing for them. And I found that really interesting. And another thing that comes to mind when you're kind of explaining about how this evolved and this evolved and that, like it reminds me of the Eugene Schwartz marketplace cycles where they say like, if you're the first to the market, then there's the novelty phase where like you win just because you're there, and then everyone gets in, and then there's like the enlargement where everyone tries to deliver more and more. And then when that kind of stops working, it goes into sophistication where people try to innovate in their own kind of unique ways. And then things get so just crazy and overloaded, then it leads to like abandonment, and then the cycle kind of starts over. So it's like if we can kind of be ahead of the cycle, then we can really win. And so yeah, there's all these like great examples of gyms out there, like you said, like the Orange Theory, the CrossFit, things like that really innovated. So like, what was your thought process? Like when it came time for you to like strategize and sketch out your plan and things like that, what was your thinking as far as you guys being different?
But when I started my facility, it was pretty easy. There weren't a lot of them there. So just by starting there, so we looked at who do we want to appeal to, and how can we create a unique experience. So at that point, we had indoor turf, a small strip of indoor turf. Right? We laid out the facility in a way that was very open and inviting to the types of training that we did. And so that was initially what made us different. We were doing some things differently in the way we delivered training. Now I would blend in with everyone else if I was starting it that way. So what I would coach somebody through now is, and we deal with this as well. And so we always tell our clients, like our clients are exactly what their clients are to them. So our business coaching clients that we work with, their personal training clients, like we all deal with the same challenges as coaches. And one of those challenges is being able to have someone understand, like for us, I guess it's that we have to get that trainer to understand Like, how do you communicate that what you do is different? And so we have them go through processes of really it's drilling down to the things I talked about, like who is your ideal client? What is your offer? Like what do you uniquely offer to them? And then what's your position in the market? How can you position yourself as the expert for this type of person? And really, if you do those things, you can market just about anything and stand out from the crowd because so many people are bad at marketing. The names I've mentioned before, the other businesses, they've done a great job of marketing themselves and they have a lot of money behind it. So how does like the mom and pop shop, the small business owner that's just starting their own private training studio, how do they stand out? And the key is all about communication. You have to be able to clearly communicate that you do something, like how you deliver the results, your process for getting results with clients. You have to explain how that's different. And then more importantly, because this is a people business, why does it matter to them? And that's the piece a lot of people miss is they don't understand how to communicate why it matters to their client or their potential new client so that it appeals to them. Because at the end of the day, it's all about like we're trying to solve a pain or a problem with someone. And if we can clearly communicate how we do that, you can stand out really easily.
Super cool. And so what you're reminding me of here is like I'm one of those nerdy computer programmers, and there's a term in programming called eating your own dog food. So that means like, if you had to eat dog food, but you were allowed to change the ingredients, what would you do? You'd make it a heck of a lot better. So the idea is that you look at things from a customer point of view, from like where their needs are, the path they go through to find you, and then what they go through when they actually go through your business and like use your gym or a facility. And so when you have these these coaching clients and you say, well, either the way that you're doing things needs to change, or maybe they're getting started and you're like, here's the way that you can do this. Do they come across any like difficulties or roadblocks when it comes to implementing the system or the things that you teach?
Yeah, of course. We'll go through and the way we look at this is like we always have to get buy-in, right? Like our coaching client has to be committed to making this change, and they've got to believe that the change we're asking them to make is going to help them achieve a certain goal or solve a problem. And so we do run into quite a few obstacles. The first obstacle is that some people, you just don't know what you don't know, right? So sometimes you don't know what questions to ask. You don't know that you have a problem because you don't know anything about it. Or you don't know that you're headed into a problem because you don't know what to look forward to. You've never had that experience. So that's usually the first obstacles. We have to be able to kind of pull back the curtain and let them see that. And so that's a huge benefit of having a coach, is that they should have experience with a lot of different people to see, here's what you're going to run into. Let's go ahead and plan for that. Because, when life throws you a curveball or an obstacle, a lot of times that can just kind of stop all your momentum. So being able to figure out like what you don't know and you should know, that's the first obstacle. The second obstacle is just not knowing how to do it. So getting tied up into the how to do it. So we might know what to do, but not know how to do it. And so you've got to make it really easy for someone to go implement and see the result, get the return that they want relatively quickly. And the third is a mindset. It's a belief shift. And sometimes they just don't think they can do it. For example, I can give somebody a sales process. I can give somebody a marketing plan that will absolutely work. If they have some sort of head trash, some sort of negative mindset or belief about sales or marketing or doing something, they don't do the behaviors for some reason, then the plan's worthless because they're not going to actually implement it, and they're not going to believe what they're doing is going to matter. So implementation goes down, and then just instinctively, like, they're not going to put everything they have behind it. So those are really the three big obstacles that we face in terms of like getting things implemented.
Great. So you need to have that buy-in. You need to have like that person to show what obstacles are coming up, and then fix that mindset, clear the head trash. And I mean, you're so right. And what's really scary about having like a bad mindset, bad attitude is it's like you don't even realize that you're stuck in this pattern. And I know that, like, for me, sometimes I'll have like a bad few days or a bad week, and then I have to go back to like the hypnosis or the affirmations or just listening to just something positive, and kind of like have that, like, the blind faith that it'll work out, and be like, well, maybe it's just like I'm having a bad day or things like that. But I just have to be like, well, if I know things aren't quite right, I have to go back to my toolbox, regardless if I think I can use willpower to go through it. I just need to, like, do it anyway, right? Do it anyway, and do whatever to get the crap in the head cleared out. So, I mean, this is all really great to hear, just as far as your thought process and then what you do here. And so, as far as you and your business, do you have anything new and interesting and exciting coming up on the horizon?
Oh, we always have fun stuff coming up on the horizon. So we're always tweaking and adjusting our methodology for, like, the structure that we give someone when we're working on their business. But for the listeners here out there now today, we've got our annual event. It'll be the Elite Fitness and Performance Summit. It's one of the longest lasting. I think this is our 9th or 10th events that we've done for fitness business owners. We're shaking things up a little bit with that this year. That'll be in the fall. We're narrowing down, like, our last details on the dates for that, probably around September. That's coming up. I think that's going to be a real game changer to get somebody, fitness business owner, to come in, and we break things out into stages, right? There's different stages of business and different things you need to work on at each stage to get to the next stage. And so we're going to kind of lay everything out to where, we can take them from fitness professional to business professional. That's one of the big things. And then we're trying to kind of lead the way in terms of leadership and management with our coaching clients, so that they then can learn how to get other people to deliver results in their business other than themselves, so they're not tied down and trapped within their business. So it's producing results through other people. A lot of them are producers, but they don't know how to get those same results through other people. So trying to kind of lead the way with that. So those are the two of the biggest things that we're working on.
Super awesome. And yeah, I think that every business owner out there needs to do more of giving others a chance, letting others do that stuff, because, as you know, we only have so many hours in a day, and you look at successful versus non-successful businesses. It's not like the successful ones necessarily have more money or necessarily smarter. They just make better decisions, have better actions. And so some of us need to rethink things, and even if not, there's always room for improvement. There's always no downside to seeing what could be better or seeing how we can up our game. So this sounds great, this Elite Fitness and Performance Summit. So where can people find out about this summit, and what other, like, websites, links do you want to drop here today?
Yeah, FR Nation is where they can get frnation.com. That's our hub where we put out all of our content. They can subscribe to the email list and newsletter list there. We send out, at least through the weekday, an email a week, blog post a week, video a week, to where tips on growing your business, from marketing to mindset to management, to all the stuff we've covered. So that's the main place that they can go. Like, they can find, free stuff there. They can find out how to do more with us there if they want to. But that, and then the email list, I think, would be where people get the most value.
Super awesome. So that is frnation.com, and make sure to go there right now and subscribe to that email list within the next couple of minutes while it's still fresh on your mind. It's really easy to write down a URL and then you put it aside and you never come back to it later. Don't be one of those people. While the podcast is going right now, go to your web browser, go to your phone, go to whatever, and type in frnation.com and hop on Ryan and Nick's email list. So that way you can get those tips that you need. You can get those mindset ideas that you need. So that way, if you're a fitness business owner of some kind, you can make sure that you're making the best use of your time, you're growing your business, and it's actually a thing that's serving you in your life. So that way you have a business that survives and grows and thrives And then you might see these other people who maybe they don't run their business very well, and they'll go and fall to the wayside. Meanwhile, you had a better strategy, and you did it because you went to frnation.com and you hopped on Ryan's and Nick's list. So thanks, Ryan, for stopping by and sharing your insights and your thinking. And it was really helpful, even though, as I said, I'm not a fitness business owner, but some of the listeners are. So it was really helpful regardless for all kinds of reasons.
My pleasure. I appreciate being able to share anything and help anyone out. So I had a great time.
Thanks for listening to today's program. Start from the beginning or view past episodes at marketeroftheday.com/episodes.